By chance today, I was Googling if there are any streaming documentaries on collectibles, hype culture, trading cards, things like that. I have seen Jeff Goldblum's first episode of the Jeff Goldblum Show, where he talks about sneakers and hype culture, which is really cool, but I was looking for something a little more serious. And by chance, I discovered this show that just released this year called King of Collectibles, and it's a 6-episode Netflix show in the style of Pawn Stars, and it details the activities of golden auctions and some of the higher profile purveyor of their collectible items. And these were my reactions while watching the whole series. I was amazed, I was skeptical, I laughed, I didn't cry, but I was jealous, I was frustrated, and I was happy. And needless to say, I watched all 6 episodes in one sitting. Most of the items in the show showcased sports memorabilia like game jerseys, bats, helmets, letters written by the athletes, sports cards of boxes that started life at like 4 to 5 figures just to buy them off the shelf when they released. But the thing that caught me off guard, and it caught off some of the people in the show off guard as much, was that position a really high profile item that had real value. Then also in the same episode, they would have a sub story going on with something not sports related. And the first episode was Beanie Babies. And even in the episode, the guys hunting and looking for the stuff, they went into the collector's house. The collector had all of these autographed baseballs. Like one of them was Babe Ruth, which I think we all know is an amazing thing to have. And they thought they were going to sell the baseballs, but that guy brought out a bin of Beanie Babies. Pause for dramatic suspense, but I think most of us all know that Beanie Babies are kind of worthless right now. And what I know about Beanie Babies is they were incredibly hyped from the 90s to the 2000s. I'm a 90s baby, so I definitely have a tub in my own family's house. I even have some of those on my bed. But the thing that burned all the collectors was that the manufacturer manufactured scarcity. He lied to all of his stores through distribution about how many of each baby was created. So all these stores were selling rare Beanie Babies when pretty much every store had the rare Beanie Babies and they didn't even know it. So the trust in the brand just went like that, and it's never recovered. You can even feel the disdain to this day. There's people out there that actually have Beanie Babies still, like a full collection, and they don't even know that their Beanie Babies are worthless. They're 20 years late here to the party. Some of the Beanie Babies do have value, but the ones that do are owned, like you had to be an employee of Ty to get them. The chances of you having one now is pretty slim, or most people would be pretty slim. The real value these days on any regular Beanie Baby has to do with like what was the Beanie Baby packed with, like what are the pellets actually made of inside the bear or the dog or whatever it is. If there are printing errors on the tag itself, which makes sense because I collect trading cards and there's error collectors out there. Anyway, even in the first episode, the show just kept adding legitimacy to the things that they were displaying. Like, brought in this woman, they called her Dr. Lori. She is a doctor, I guess, but of art history and architecture. She's featured in different TV shows and printed publications around antiquing, and she's an appraiser. She's known for appraising the value of certain items. So I definitely learned lots of tips from every episode. Like with the Beanie Babies specifically, I never thought about, I mean, it makes sense, I never thought about the pristineness level of the baby itself. If there are wrinkles, creases, things like that, I mean, it makes sense. Nobody wants to collect a dirty toy in most cases. I learned that some of those bears will sell, the babies themselves will sell during certain times of the year that something related is hype around it. Princess Diana bears, I knew that this most recent anniversary of Princess Diana's death, the bears, I watched them on eBay, they started jumping up in resale value over $100 each, which is amazing for any Beanie Baby, because you could buy some for like $5 right now. And I even watched one sell over $2,000, which they call out in the show itself. So it's like I was there in a way. I was watching the sale as it happened. But they also pointed out like there was a dragon Beanie Baby that started selling better during the release of HBO's House of Dragons. And I hadn't thought about that, so it kind of like opened my eyes to something a little more time bound. As someone who revisited his collecting hobby during the pandemic, like many other people like me. We're all revisiting it in a more adult way. I felt a lot of jealousy toward Ken, which I think makes sense, and I think that's what he really wanted us to feel by watching his show. Above all the other amazing emotions I was feeling at the same time. Yeah, we all want to be like Ken, and it again brings so much legitimacy to collecting for the money. That being said, last year I committed financially, flip as many trading cards as I can to reach. I only wanted to cover like $1,000 of profit, no, specifically profit, not sold, and I'm already halfway there. I'm over halfway there. I've almost reached it. So now I've revisited that goal, and I would like to see if I can make $100,000 selling my own stuff, going and buying these things, and being able to make real money associated with it. And I have spreadsheets to prove it all. I have worked out all the numbers, so I know I'm covering my costs at the same time. Whether or not I make it, if I'm doing it efficiently or not, that's not the question. The point of this is to prove to myself I can actually do it. But this is now my revised outlook, legitimized by watching this one series, which is very well made, by the way. I recommend you go watch it yourselves. An item's going to sell as long as it's truly valuable. And an item's not valuable if there's no story behind it. Ken doesn't sell the items, he sells the stories, and it's pretty clear with each person he's talking to and each item they're all going through. How did they get it? What was going on with the item in the time historically? Why is it relevant to people that do find value in it? And then they happen to be items that anybody that watches sports would be in love with and would love to own. And I find that if you can't tell the story, then you're at risk to get hosed by a bigger fish like Ken. And he does that so well. Ken doesn't sell collectibles. He sells the stories themselves. This video is completely unsponsored. I was just so incredibly moved by King of Collectibles series on Netflix. I had to make a video voicing that appreciation and for everything that this made me feel. So, Ken, if you're watching this, my collection's small. It's very young, and at the moment, it doesn't qualify for a space in your phone's contact list, but hold that space, because I'm coming for it.